G'day, I'm Mrs. Dow and welcome to Mrs. Dow's Art Room. Here's today's lesson. Oil Pastel Resist. Today we're making rainbow fish. First you'll need to write your name. You can either draw your fish or use a template. Begin with a white oil pastel, and it will be hard to see on the page, but you'll know if it's an oil pastel because it rubs off on your hands. You'll also need paper towel, clean and dirty water pots, some watercolour paint or poster paint, and a brush. So I'm going to press fairly hard, trying not to break my oil pastel, and trace around the edge of my fish to begin. You will need to be a little bit careful when you are tracing around your fish that it doesn't move, so you could even blue tack it down or get somebody to help you. I'm just speeding this little bit up so that we can get through the lesson. Pause it if you need to. Now I've gone all the way around my fish, I'm ready to remove the template, and then I can start adding some features. Here you can see it when you hold it at a certain angle. So I'm going to add a line to separate the head from the body. I'll draw an eye and even a mouth. And then I'll add some scales. We can use a bumpy line that goes sideways to add these scales and make them big enough so that you can paint different colours in them later with a paintbrush. Okay, I think now we're ready to start our painting. You can see all of the scales on the fish, and I even did a couple of lines in the fins as well. So we're going to wet our brush with the clean water, making sure it's holding a bit. And then we're going to gently dance our brush tip around on the blue paint and cover as much of the page as we can, very gently painting around the page so that we're not going to rub off any of the oil pastel. If you press too hard with your brush, you'll find that you actually rub the oil pastel away, and then you won't see it as good. Your outline won't be quite as bright. You'll need to make sure that your watercolour paint stays fairly wet. So you're either going to have to dip your brush into a water pot or use a dropper to add more water to your palette as you need it. If your paint gets too dry, then your brush will just want to scrub over the page and you'll lose all your pictures. Now I can clean my brush off and even add little bits of colour in some of my scales to make it a rainbow fish. I'll use my clean water instead of the dirty one. Pick my first colour and prepare it by dancing the brush around. Now it's quite easy to add the colour into the scales and it not go any further because of our oil pastel. It acts like a fence or a barrier so that the colour can't spill out into the next one. You might choose to do 2 or 3 fins in that one colour. Then you can wipe your brush off on your paper towel, rinse it and choose another colour. Now just a reminder, I do have a pot of water for my dirty water so I can clean my brush, and a clean pot of water so that I can activate a new colour. It's a good idea to do this so that your water doesn't get muddy and mix up your colours. I'm going to leave a few blue ones so that my fish has got lots of different colours in it, and when it dries you might even like to cut out a shiny piece of paper and glue a shiny scale onto your fish. I hope you had fun with today's lesson. Thank you so much, my amazing art students.